What's up, guys? This is Rise, and welcome to another video. We know that with its recent community day, whoa, look how bright I am today. We know with its recent community day that Walrein, you've been seeing it everywhere. There's been so many videos on it, and I created this as we see the Ninetales go down to the flash cannon. This anti-Walrein team featuring Registeel, Medicham, and Dedenne. And it's been catching a lot of great leads. And also, if you do run into Walrein, if you're seeing a lot of Walrein in the meta, it really has nowhere to go against this team, which is nice. Because let's say you catch Walrein in the lead against the Registeel. Got some of my Team USA teammates sending messages here in the footage. Let's say you catch Walrein in the lead, they swap out into something else. You don't even necessarily have to switch because your back line can handle the Walrein as well. So that's why I've been liking this team, and it's been really successful for me. Gonna take the power up punch here. We've managed to get shields down, so I'm feeling comfortable now that my Dedenne can close out this Medi, and I'm predicting there's probably a Bastiodon in the back. So I just go for this discharge right away. It should nearly KO, if not KO. One Thunder Shock. It is the Bastiodon. Very common team with Ninetales, Medicham, and Bastiodon. Very fast move oriented team. Can be tough to beat depending on your alignment. And I actually lost to Onion Frank because I misclicked, and I meant to swap in my Medicham after I took out the Ninetales, and actually swapped in my Dedenne instead, which kind of gave him the switch alignment that he wanted. So yeah, unfortunately I lost a game to that team because I misclicked, but we get the win that time. Nice little do-over. Registeel versus Mew. Typically Surf Wild Charge, the most common move set. But what I typically do here against a Mew lead with this team, if you guys decide to run this team yourself, is I just kind of play out the Zero Shield. It's unlikely they're going to run like Overheat or Focus Blast. If they do, props to them. And that would do a ton of damage, but I'm just going to play out the Zeros here. I'm going to try and leave here with a shield advantage. And by just kind of sacrificing my Registeel, my Medicham is going to avoid this Mew, which is nice because Medicham definitely struggles against Mew. Another move coming through. It's another Surf. That's fine. We're going to come in with Dedenne. Get a big Thunder Shock down potentially. I'm actually going to let this first move go through. And in comes Scrafty, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting to swap your Scrafty into this. Since I have Play Rough, boom. They just basically sacrifice their full Scrafty, and this is pretty good. We're in a good situation here because with a shield up, Medicham should be able to beat Skarmory. So we just did the discharge for some chip damage, put it into full farm down range, and pretty straightforward win there. So it was a neutral lead, and then our back line handled our opponent's back line really well. Ariados here, they swap in Greedent. And you could argue I should have just swapped Medicham right away here, but I decided to stay in for a little bit. Greedent can be kind of annoying with those spammy body slams, so one tendency I have is if I don't swap instantly as like the counter swap, sometimes I like to just kind of play out a matchup for a bit. That way my opponent doesn't have like a ton of energy. So I'm gonna get off another Focus Blast here, either do a ton of damage or get the last shield, do a ton of damage, and I'm actually able to snipe the Greedent with 2 counters. And this isn't a great matchup for Medi, but because I'm up a shield, it's going to become a lot better. Hits me with a lunge, gonna debuff my attack. No point in baiting, in my opinion. Just go straight for the Psychic. Either get the last shield or do a lot of damage. I do a lot of damage. Not gonna bother shielding this. It's another lunge. I overfarm by 1. just so whatever's in back potentially gets like less farm against me. And he actually caught it on Scrafty, so a nice catch. But I can just come in here with Dedenne, and once the Scrafty sees the Dedenne, lets it go. So yeah, this team catching a lot of great leads. We get a 4-1 set there. Little Mienfoo as a reward, and I think Registeel right now it used to be so popular, right, in the early seasons of Go Battle League. If you guys have been doing GBL since the first few seasons, but it's been forgotten about a little bit, and I feel like right now it's a pretty good core breaker for a lot of these teams. So I get a LinkedIn notification, and we're on to the next one. So gonna play this Mew lead out the same way as we did last time. Just going straight for Flash Cannon. And Dedenne, especially with Walrein now, we haven't seen any Walreins in this video. So it shows this team is viable, even if you're not seeing a lot of Walrein. But, you know, I should mention some things this team struggles with. Trevenant in the back. Trevenant is very difficult to deal with. Registeel can handle it, but obviously it has a really good matchup against Medicham and Dedenne. So Trevenant in the back, certainly tough for this team. Our opponent doesn't want to get farmed, but they swap into an Azu, and this is not good at all for poor Azu. The mouse versus the bunny. Gonna get off another discharge here. 2 discharges almost KOs Azu, barely hangs on. So I'm gonna shield once. Just an Ice Beam, but that's fine. We'll just pretend it was a Hydro Pump. What's gonna be in back? I'm getting ready to potentially swap. It's a Venu, so I do swap. And this is actually kind of scary. This is kind of scary. This is probably what I'm gonna want to shield, so I shield the Frenzy. I'm over farming. I get the shield. Frenzy coming through. And I should have Ice Punched right away. And you might be wondering why not throw my move at the Mew before it takes me out. The reason I don't throw a move at Mew is because then the Venusaur just farms down my Medicham, and then I just get frenzied and lose. So I figure the win con is to get to 2 discharges here, because I didn't think 1 Play Rough would KO. And you see the Venu got to a move there, so I lost that one. Tough game. Maybe there was a win con in there somewhere. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, Stunfisk. So not the best lead. Stunfisk does beat Registeel, but what I do here is I just play this lead out, because if my Dedenne can avoid this thing, that's good for me. Try and get to this next Focus Blast. I'm gonna call this as a Rock Slide. Since I'm so low, I feel like he's probably gonna bait, and calling that bait barely lets me get off this Focus Blast, which is really nice for me. So he takes Switch, but I get a shield advantage. And I thought he was 1 short here of Earthquake. I thought he was 1 short. So I decide to call it, and it is a Rock Slide. In comes Azu. For some reason, I'm like staying in when I probably should have just swapped out right away. Not sure why. But I'm doing some chip damage here, getting like close to discharge range, I guess. And then there's a Medicham in back. Our opponent kind of just blind swapped. But yeah, we're in a really comfortable position now. I can honestly shield Dedenne. I can shield Medicham. We've got so many ways to win this game now. It doesn't really matter what I do, as long as I just don't not use any shields. I call the Ice Punch. I decided to shield at this point because now I can Thunder Shock down and get off a discharge against Azu. I get off a discharge here. I'm expecting the final shield to come up. It does. And I could do either. Yeah, I could shield What I decided to do to be safe here is I had kind of lost track of Azu's energy. So here's a good chance for me to like break down. It wasn't even necessary, I don't think. But I'll break down my thought process here, which was kind of an advanced thought process. Just to make sure I win. Hydro Pump. So, if we rewind, let's see how many bubbles the Azu had. Rewind. Okay, let's count how many bubbles the Azu had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the Azu was nowhere near 100 energy. The Azu was nowhere near 100 energy. But the reason I played this endgame the way I did let's see, right here. So the Azu Ice Beams, if the Azu had 100 energy, it would be one bubble away from the Ice Beam, and then it would outpace me to the discharge, and then potentially could get to a Play Rough if it had Play Rough against the Medicham. So in order to guarantee my victory, I do one Thunder Shock. So that way, I'm only going to be one Thunder Shock away from the discharge, and I swap out. And Azu can't double up on moves. So let's say the Azu did have Play Rough. Worst case scenario, it would take out my Medicham, and it would still have to be at least one bubble away from another move. In which case, I would outpace it to the discharge. So this was unnecessary since the Azu didn't have... I didn't remember how much energy it had. It didn't have enough energy here to get to a move. But it was just a way to guarantee my victory rather than like potentially leave it up to chance, you know? Like a safety precaution. And then the bunny gonna Hydro Pump me. Kind of rude. A little bit refreshing. Medicham staying hydrated. He is a fighter. Like in Cobra Kai. Which, by the way, I just finished Season 4. Let me know. Any of you guys watching this video also like Cobra Kai? I love it. I think it's a great show. Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is a tricky lead. Obviously, our Dedenne has to avoid this, so you kind of have to stay in here. I mean, Registeel's our best answer for it, but it's still not the most comfortable matchup. Especially if they're a psychopath and they bait you. I decided to just let it go. In comes Medi, and I kind of panic throw this Flash Cannon. I probably should have saved that Flash Cannon for later, to be honest. Probably should have saved that Flash Cannon for later. I sneak in a Thunder Shock, which is nice. I don't want the Nidoqueen to like farm me down, so I just let the Psychic go through. They sneak in a counter, not ideal. Because he's either at the Ice Punch or he's one away, but then he shields, which is good for me. It lets me get off another discharge here. I get both shields. Unfortunately, no, I don't think it mattered. I think I got the pause, but I think I would have been one short anyway. I do get both shields. And now I'm thinking the Nidoqueen, without any shields, I can just Ice Punch it. And I should be in pretty good shape. Gonna commit a shield here. Because the Nido isn't at an Earth Power. It's only at a Fang, I believe. Waiting for that top right corner. What am I gonna see? It's Bast. I go over 100 energy there, so a bit of a mistake by me. I've harmed him too much. Did one counter too many. I get the defense fell, which is kind of nice. Try to catch a flamethrower, but this is so nice. The Queen cannot farm me down, so they're forced to throw a Poison Fang. I Ice Punch right away before they get to another and debuff me. And now we should be good because Flamethrower will definitely not take us out from here. Medi is bulky. Bastiodon is bulkier. And my opponent, top left's realizing it's over. As I throw the Psychic for a little bit of a BM. I don't know if you can even consider that a BM, because, like, Ice Punch, I mean, they both don't do very much. All right, Flash Cannon, obviously. I don't know why that was what I thought immediately. I see Registeel first Ninetales, and my first comment is like, Flash Cannon, like, yes. Like yes, you would Flash Cannon a Ninetales, obviously. Double super effective. They swap in a Jelly. Jelly in the lead is actually pretty brutal for this team. I haven't encountered that yet, but Jelly in the lead would be pretty brutal. Fortunately, it's a swap-in Jelly, so I can counter it with my Dedenne. I get a shield, which is pretty nice. And I am thinking, okay, I should shield this because as long as I keep switch advantage and have my Reggie on the Ninetales, I should be in pretty good shape. Keeping track of their energy allows me to fully Thunder Shock down. I'm going to go for a Play Rough here because I don't expect the A9 to shield knowing that there's a Registeel waiting for it. And this puts it pretty much into discharge range. You could argue I should have just thrown the discharge right away because these charms are really adding up. In comes Scrafty, and yeah, we're totally fine here. It seems, based off of how this endgame goes, Medicham actually beats Scrafty in the 0-1 shield, which is pretty nice. Maybe if the Scrafty had gone for 2 foul plays here, it would have taken me out, but by that point, it would have been so low anyway that it would have just got locked on down. Would have just got locked on down. Chest Spin to win the next opponent. Very cool name. Ferrothorn, terrific lead. We just have to make sure our Dedenne avoids it. So I'm actually going to swap it in right away against the Sableye, knowing that this isn't super comfortable, but switch advantage doesn't matter that much for me, right? So I'm willing to like lose switch here if I can get shield advantage. In either way, no matter what in back lines up against Pharaoh, I'm in a pretty good spot. I decide to shield here just so I can get off a Play Rough. And even if he shields this Play Rough, I'm going to be able to Thunder Shock this thing into like Flash Cannon range, which is nice for me. I'm hoping he doesn't get to 2 foul plays here, but he might. Would not be ideal. Foul play, ow. And this is really nice. I get to take it out before it gets to a second foul play. In comes Azumarill, and this is fun. This is where I want to see the Azumarill. And we know that our Medicham can handle the Ferrothorn in back. So at this point, I'm thinking I'll probably just save my shields. My shield, singular, for Medi. If he's going to Hydro Pump me, so be it. But no, seems like he probably doesn't have Hydro Pump. So yeah, just going to go for the Flash Cannon. I'm just going to force the Azu to expend energy here. Just going to force it to expend energy. Going to swap out in case it doesn't KO. It does KO. They reveal Ice Beam. I am going to respect this. I kind of lost track, but a Play Rough would do way more than anything the Pharaoh can throw at me. Just making sure my timing is all right. Don't want to let him sneak in an extra Bullet Seed, because if this Pharaoh gets to 2 Power Whips, that's GG's. 2 Power Whips would take me out. First Power Whip coming through. I go for a Psychic here because I think it does more raw damage. Barely doesn't KO, but the next counter does. And we counter down the Azumarill for a good game. Against Chest Spin to win. Alright, I think this might be the last battle. Another good lead. Registeel, you're seeing, is just pulling a lot of good leads for us. Because Frostlass is kind of tough for my back line, I am going to shield the Shadow Ball. I CMP tie here. They're going to have to shield, otherwise this would one-shot, I think. They catch on the Lickitung. So a nice catch, but that's all right. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to overfarm. I want to store a Flash Cannon for the Frostlass. And now I can take this from the Licky. They Power Whip me, which actually I don't think is the right play. I think you just go straight Body Slam. It's a lot more efficient than the non-stab Power Whip. Body slam coming through. I'm hoping I can counter down here before another body slam. And I can. That's huge. Because I maintain switch and I have this energy to threat whatever comes in. No point in baiting, in my opinion. Just go straight for the psychic. Whoa! Nice counting by the opponent. They probably would have lived an Ice Punch, but... And now I'm expecting him to swap immediately, so that's why I went into my Dedenne straight away. And fortunately for us, we've got a good matchup here in the back. Dedenne against Azu, a pretty straightforward match here. We had the alignment we wanted, we just had to make sure we kept our alignment. And we were in great shape. This is pretty much Flash Cannon range, so I figure I can just no shield, save a shield for Reggie. Dedenne just significantly outpaces Azu. As good as Azu is, it's kind of slow to get to its charge moves. And our opponent surrenders. So there we go. I think those were a couple of 4-1s. We get a little shield on as a reward. And let's see what that takes us to elo-wise. A nice anti-Walrein team. Unfortunately, we didn't see any Walrein in this video. But I did see a lot of Walrein the other day. And we get to 32-16 with this team. So it's a strong team that's not only anti-Walrein, but it's just strong against the meta in general. Some of the toughest things that you'll see will be Trevenant in back. Trevenant in back is kind of tough to overcome. I guess like a Talonflame lead is kind of tough, but I mean, Medicham can actually hold its own against Talonflame, so it's not that bad. But yeah, every team's going to have some weakness. And yeah, I hope you guys, if you do use this team, it works out for you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, leave a like, it helps out the channel, comment anything you'd like down below as well. Subscribe if you're new. And all that said, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.